The first thing I saw was white. Not snow, not clouds, not heaven. Just a white room so bright it made everyone look like paper cutouts. 300 people stood around me, barefoot on a floor that felt too clean to be real. Some were crying, some were screaming, some were laughing like their brains had already given up. I was quiet. That was my first advantage. When everyone else panicked, they missed the words forming on the wall. Welcome, players. Choose one starting item. Survive the first 7 days. Failure means erasure. Then shelves rose from the floor. 1 second the room was empty. The next it looked like a fantasy warehouse had exploded. Swords with blue fire, bows made of bone and gold, armor made from dragon scales, shields as big as car doors, staffs glowing with holy light, rings floating inside glass bubbles, gauntlets covered in demon teeth. Every item had a label. Divine sword, dragon scale armor, phoenix bow, S-rank healing staff, demon king's gauntlet, shadow assassin cloak. The room went insane. People shoved each other. A grown man elbowed a kid to grab a spear. Someone climbed over a shelf for the flaming bow. A girl screamed when the dragon scale armor wrapped around her body like it had been waiting for her. Everyone wanted the obvious treasure. I didn't move. Not because I was calm. Because I knew something was wrong. If a death game gave everyone a legendary weapon for free, then the weapon was not the prize. It was the bait. That was how every scam worked. Flash the gold, hide the hook. Cole noticed me standing still and laughed so loud people turned. Ryan, you've frozen already, he shouted. Even before the apocalypse, Cole liked audiences. He liked making one person small so he could feel huge. At school, he used money, muscle, and that stupid smile. Now he had both hands wrapped around a hammer the size of a motorcycle engine. Thunder God Hammer. Lightning crawled over the head of it, snapping like angry blue snakes. Cole swung it onto his shoulder and grinned. You better hurry, man. All the good stuff is going. He was right, the good stuff was going. That was why I looked lower. The top shelves were full of miracles, the middle shelves were full of weapons, the bottom shelf was almost empty, mostly junk, a dented cooking pot, a rope with mold on it, a cracked mirror, a jar of dead insects. Then I saw the glasses. They were shoved behind a pile of dusty wooden practice swords, almost hidden, like even the system was embarrassed to display them. The frame was old silver, one lens had a crack running through it, the label was tiny. Beginner appraisal glasses, F rank. I stared at them for 3 seconds. F rank. In a room full of divine weapons. It should have been trash. Which meant it was either truly useless, or it was the one thing the game did not want anyone to touch. I picked them up. The room went silent for half a second, then burst open with laughter. Cole almost dropped his hammer. No way, he said. You chose reading glasses in a death game. A few people laughed harder. Someone holding the divine sword pointed at me like I was part of the tutorial joke. Brooke looked at the glasses, then at the healing staff in her hands. She didn't laugh, but her face said the same thing. Poor Ryan, he already lost. The wall post. Selection complete. Equipment binding. The shelves melted away. The glasses trembled in my hand. The cracked lens gave off a weak gray shine like a dying phone screen. I put them on. At first, nothing happened. Cole opened his mouth to mock me again. Then the world peeled. The white room didn't change exactly. It corrected itself. The clean walls gained scratches made of dark letters. The bright floor became covered in thin red lines. The labels above the items changed. The divine sword in another player's hands no longer said divine sword. It said, divine sword of premature glory. Public effect grants overwhelming holy power for 30 days. Hidden cost, owner becomes the first target of the sword-hunting angel. Expiration, 29 days, 23 hours, 58 minutes. My breath stopped. I looked at the dragon scale armor. Molting dragon armor. Public effect blocks fire and blades. Hidden cost attracts dragon parasites after first blood moon. Correction, armor belongs to a living dragon that wants it back. I looked at Brooke's staff. Signed as bait. Public effect heals injuries. Hidden cost, every third miracle marks the user as a sacrifice candidate. Hidden trigger, white feathers grow black when the collector is near. Then I looked at Cole's hammer. Thunder God Hammer. Public effect controls lightning. Hidden rule, cannot strike a target who has not attacked the owner first. Hidden curse, if owner kills an innocent player, divine backlash doubles. Current risk, owner temperament unstable. My stomach turned cold. The strongest items were traps. Beautiful, glowing, legendary traps. And then I looked at my own reflection in the cracked lens. Reader of false worlds. Rank unknowns. Public disguise, beginner appraisal glasses. Effect reveals false item descriptions, hidden costs, death triggers, secret routes, invisible rules, curse conditions, system lies, and true win conditions. Warning, the system cannot lie to the wearer, but it can still kill him. For the first time since waking up in that white room, I smiled. Cole saw it and frowned. What are you smiling at? I looked at his hammer, then at his face. Nothing, I said, just thinking you picked something perfect for your personality. He didn't understand the insult. That made it better. The floor split open. A staircase dropped into darkness. The wall changed again. Tutorial stage, Fallen City. Objective, reach a shelter before midnight. Bonus, kill 100 infected. Penalty, unsheltered players will be hunted. People cheered like this was a game launch event. Some raised their weapons and ran down the stairs. Cole shoved past me and let lightning crack around his boots. Brooke hesitated beside me. You saw something, didn't you? She asked. I looked at her staff. One white feather near the top had a black tip. Don't heal anyone 3 times, I said. Her eyes narrowed. What? 2 miracles are free. The 3rd sends your name somewhere ugly. I walked toward the stairs before she could ask more. Behind me, Cole laughed. Brooke, don't listen to him. His item literally needs a prescription. I didn't look back. The first lesson of the apocalypse was simple. Let fools laugh while they still had teeth. Stairs went down for what felt like forever. People started running faster, probably afraid the best spots in the city would be taken. I walked at the edge of the crowd and watched the walls. Through the cracked glasses, red text floated beside the stair rail. Rule: players who push others during descent will be marked as early prey. I watched 3 players shove a smaller person aside. Tiny red paw prints appeared on their backs. They didn't notice. I did. At the bottom, the staircase opened into a city that looked like a giant had stepped on it. Cars were flipped over. Office towers leaned into each other. Store windows were shattered. The sky was purple-black even though it should have been daytime. A siren cried in the distance. Then the infected came. They poured from alleys and subway entrances, gray-skinned bodies moving too fast for dead things. Players screamed and raised their weapons. Fire, lightning, arrows, and sword beams ripped through the street. It looked heroic for about 10 seconds. Then the first trap activated. The player with the divine sword swung once and erased 30 infected in a golden arc. Everyone gasped. He laughed like a chosen hero. Above his head, a new line appeared. Sword Hunting Angel has NOTICEDYOU. No one else saw it. A white feather drifted from the black sky and landed on his shoulder. He brushed it off, confused. I stepped away from him. Far away. Cole smashed infected with lightning, but his hammer stopped every time one had not attacked him first. He thought it was lag. He cursed and screamed, swinging harder. The hammer sparked but refused to obey unless the infected lunged first. So Cole began kicking monsters to make them attack, then blasting them. Not dumb, just loud. Brooke stayed behind a burned taxi, healing cuts and broken fingers. I counted. 1 miracle. 2 miracles. A 3rd player crawled to her with a bitten leg, begging. Brooke raised the staff. I grabbed her wrist. She spun on me, let go. If you use it again, something will collect you. She stared into my face. She didn't trust me. Why would she? 10 minutes ago, everyone had laughed at me. I looked like the first person who should die. The injured player screamed, "Help me." Brooke's hand shook. I pointed at the bitten leg. Look at the veins. Dark lines crawled upward from the bite. He isn't dying from the wound, I said. He is turning from the blood. Your staff will heal his skin and trap the infection inside. Then he'll explode. Brooke's face went pale. The injured player's stomach inflated under his shirt. I pulled Brooke behind the taxi right before he burst. Black spikes shot in every direction, punching holes through metal, concrete, and anyone standing too close. 3 players died instantly. The staff in Brooke's hand dimmed. She looked at me again. This time there was fear in her eyes. You know, I read labels. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm selling for free. A scream tore across the street. The 3 players marked as early prey were dragged into an alley by things with long white arms. Nobody saved them. Nobody even had time to understand why they were chosen. I adjusted my glasses. Fallen City was not a battlefield. It was a test filled with rules nobody could see. And I was the only one with the answer key. We needed shelter before midnight, but every obvious building had a problem. The hospital glowed with a fake blue safe zone mark. Through the glasses, the mark changed. False shelter. Function attracts injured players. Hidden rule, the third healer to enter becomes the building's heart. The police station looked sturdy. Feeding pen. Function traps armed players. Hidden rule, weapons stored inside will awaken at midnight and hunt their owners. The school gym was full of light. Mimic shelter. Function eats groups larger than 10. Current hunger extreme. People rushed toward all three. I said nothing. That might sound cruel, but I had 3 facts. 1, if I told everyone, they would not believe me. 2, if they did believe me, they would surround me, threaten me, and turn my power into public property. 3, survival information was the only currency I owned. So I did what any broke person does when the world ends. I opened a business. I climbed onto a delivery truck, tapped a metal pipe against the roof, and shouted, I can identify cursed items and fake shelters. Payment first. More laughter. A player covered in dragon armor pointed at me. The glasses guy thinks he's a merchant. Cole shoved through the street, hammer crackling. Ryan, get down before you embarrass yourself. I looked at him. Your hammer can't hit anyone unless they attack you first. His face froze. The lightning around him flickered. A few players turned. Cole's jaw tightened, guess lucky. If you kill an innocent player, the backlash doubles. Now the crowd went quiet. Cole raised the hammer slightly. He wanted to hit me. He could not unless I attacked first. I smiled again. See, you're testing it right now. A murmur spread. The first hook had gone in. Brooke stepped beside the truck. He warned me about my staff. He was right. That changed everything. Not trust, not yet. But interest. A player with a flaming spear threw me a bag of dried food. What about mine? I looked through the glasses. Ember Serpent Spear. Public effect, fire damage. Hidden cost, each kill raises body temperature. Fatal threshold, 20 kills in 1 hour. Safe method, submerge spearhead in sewer water every 7 kills. I told him the safe method and left out the fatal number. Information was food, but complete information was leverage. Soon they lined up, some paid with water, some with bandages, some with bullets they did not know were cursed. I told enough truth to prove value, not enough truth to make myself useless. Nina appeared without making a sound. I only noticed her because the glasses marked her cloak. Shadow Assassin Cloak. Public effect, concealment. Hidden cost, shadow slowly learns wearer's shape. Warning, if wearer sleeps in darkness, shadow may wake first. She stood below the truck, looking up with bright, sharp eyes. Can you fix that? She asked. Maybe. What do you want? I looked at the pouch on her belt. Whatever you stole from the player with the phoenix bow. Her smile vanished. That confirmed it. Nina opened the pouch and showed a red feather charm. I read it. Phoenix Feather Charm. Hidden effect, revives the next dead flame once. Value extremely high to fire-type enemies. Curse burns greedy hands after sunset. I nodded, keep it until sunset and your fingers cook. She tossed it to me instantly. I caught it with the edge of my sleeve, not my bare hand. Nina noticed that too. You really can raid things. I can read enough. Then raid this. She pointed at a narrow alley behind a ruined bakery. Through normal eyes, it was just darkness. Through the glasses, the darkness had words. Secret route. Destination, drowned church. Requirement, enter while holding no weapon. Danger 7 silent infected. Reward, corpse cloth from drowned priest. My heart beat harder. Corpse cloth. The safe transfer material for Cole's hammer. I looked at Nina. She had not chosen a weapon, only the cloak. Brooke had a staff. I had nothing but glasses and a stolen feather charm. We go there, I said. Brooke frowned. Why? Because Cole is carrying a weapon he can't control, and I'm about to sell the instruction manual. The drowned church route was ridiculous. To enter, we had to hold no weapons. That meant Brooke had to wrap her staff in cloth and drag it with a rope behind her, because the rule counted held, not owned. Nina had to turn her cloak inside out because the game counted it as armor if it covered her shoulders, but as laundry if it hung from her hand. The glasses told me all of that. Without them, we would have died in the first doorway. The alley stretched too long. The city noise disappeared behind us. Water dripped upward from the ground into the sky. 7 silent infected stood along the walls, mouths sewn shut with black thread. A rule appeared above them. Rule THUI attack sound, not life. So I raised one finger to my lips. Brooke nodded. Nina rolled her eyes like silence was easy. Then I threw a coin behind the infected. The coin hit the far wall. All 7 monsters snapped toward the sound and sprinted away. We walked past them. That was when I learned a beautiful thing about hidden rules. They were not restrictions. They were handles. If you knew where to grab, you could move the whole world. The drowned church sat under the street, half sunk in black water. The pews floated. The statues cried mud. At the altar, a corpse in priest robes hung upside down from chains, still dripping even though it looked centuries old. Above it floated a warning. Mini boss DROWNED priest. Public method defeat with holy damage. True weakness cannot refuse confession. Loop condition receive forgiveness after telling a true sin. Brooke whispered, we need to fight that. No. I stepped into the water. Nina grabbed my sleeve. You're insane. Not this time. The corpse's head lifted. Empty eye sockets stared at me. The water around my legs grew cold enough to hurt. A voice crawled through the church. Confess. I swallowed. A true sin. Not a crime, a sin. The glasses did not tell me what counted. That meant the church would judge. I thought about the players who ran into fake shelters, the ones I could have warned, the ones I let pay with blood because I needed my information to stay valuable. I watched people walk into traps, I said. I knew. I stayed quiet because I was scared they would use me. The church groaned. Brooke stared at me. Nina looked away. For a second, I thought the boss would tear me apart. Then the drowned priest smiled with rotten teeth. Honest fear is not innocence, it said, but it is not vanity. The chains snapped. A strip of gray cloth floated from the corpse and wrapped around my wrist. Corpse cloth from DROWNED priest. Hidden effect safely transfers storm-bound weapons once. Additional effect protects wearer from 1 water curse. Current ownership Ryan. Forgiveness burned across my chest like a brand. The boss sank into the water. The church began to collapse. Of course it did. In apocalypse games, nothing waits politely. We ran as the ceiling cracked. Water surged behind us with hands inside it. The silent infected returned at the alley entrance, drawn by the collapse. Brooke raised her staff. I shook my head, no third miracle. She gritted her teeth and slammed the staff into the ground instead. A burst of white light did not heal anyone, so it did not trigger the sacrifice mark. It blinded the infected for half a second. Nina grabbed a broken bell rope and swung across the water like a lunatic. I wrapped the corpse cloth around my arm and jumped after her. We escaped into the city 2 minutes before midnight. Behind us, the alley sealed itself like a mouth. The game announcement boomed. Midnight hunt begins. Players screamed from every direction. Fake hospital unfolded into a rib cage. The police station lights turned red as guns floated into the air and began shooting their owners. The gym floor opened like a stomach. Anyone who had trusted the glowing signs learned the second lesson. Safe zones were only safe if the system wanted you alive. I looked toward the north side of the city. A small laundromat flickered with a half-broken neon sign. Through the glasses, it showed a different label. True shelter. Capacity 12. Hidden rule, washing machines must run all night. Penalty if the machines stop, the dead inside them wake up. I left. A laundromat. Of course. While heroes ran to hospitals and warriors seized police stations, the real shelter was a place to wash dirty socks. We reached it with 9 other players trailing us, because by then the rumor had spread that Glasses Guy knew we're not to die. The laundromat door had 3 locks. Nina opened them in 6 seconds. Inside, the machines were already full of dead arms, hair, and clothing pressed against the glass. Brooke gagged. Cole arrived last, dragging 2 injured people behind him and acting like he had meant to follow us all along. Move, he snapped. I'm taking this place. I looked at the hammer. Current anger, 87%. Backlash risk, severe. Hidden rule active. Cannot strike owner's chosen shelter unless invited by shelter keeper. Then I looked above the laundromat door. Temporary shelter keeper. First player to read the rule aloud. Interesting. Very interesting. I I cleared my throat and read the glowing words, "Washing machines must run all night." A black key appeared in my hand. Cole shoved toward the door, then bounced off an invisible wall so hard he almost fell. Everyone stared. I spun the key around my finger. "Capacity is 12, I said. "Payment is simple. No fighting, no stealing, no touching Brooke's staff, and nobody opens the machines." Cole's face turned red. "You think you can keep me out?" "You're already out." Midnight Hunt screamed closer. Something huge moved between the buildings, dragging chains and sniffing the air. Cole looked back. For the first time that night, I saw fear crack his face. He lowered his voice. "Let me in." "Say please." The other players went silent. Cole's hand shook around the hammer. Lightning gathered. It could not hit me, not yet, but pride is a monster too, and his had teeth. The hunter turned the corner. It was a horse made of hands, with a human face stretched over its skull. Cole whispered, "Please." I opened the door. That was the moment the balance shifted. Not all the way, not enough. But the boy with the hammer had begged the boy with the broken glasses for shelter. And everyone saw it. The first night should have been rest. The game had other plans. Machines started spinning at exactly 12:01, shaking the whole laundromat. Wet thumps came from inside them. Dead fingers slapped glass. A timer appeared above each machine. Wash cycle 6 hours. Required payment 1 memory per machine. If unpaid, contents released. There were 12 machines. 12 memories. Players began shouting. Someone offered coins. Someone offered blood. The machines did not care. They wanted memories. The glasses showed more. Memory quality accepted. Regret high. Joy medium. Fear low. Names forbidden. False memories explosive. I almost laughed again. The game was not just trying to kill us. It was eating proof that we had lives before this. I had a decision. Pay with good memories and lose pieces of myself, or find another handle. I inspected the nearest machine. Hidden loophole. Memory does not need to belong to payer if willingly discarded. There it was. "Everybody," I said, "we auction regrets." They stared at me like I had lost my mind. I explained fast. The machines accepted discarded memories if they were given up willingly. Regret counted as high quality. Most people had regrets they wanted gone anyway, so I made them line up, touch the machine, and say one thing they wished they could forget. A player gave up the memory of stealing food from a sibling. Another gave up the memory of leaving a friend behind during the city chaos. Brooke stepped forward and gave up the moment she almost used the third miracle. The machine glowed white and calmed. Cole refused. Of course he did. "I don't regret anything," he said. The machine in front of him slammed harder. Inside, a dead face pressed to the glass. I glanced through my lenses. Subject Cole. Current strongest regret, humiliating Ryan in front of others and realizing Ryan remembers. That almost made me smile, but I held it in. "You don't need to confess to us," I said, "only the machine." He looked at the glass. The monster inside smiled back. Cole placed one palm on the machine. His voice was quiet. I regret laughing. The machine accepted it. The room survived until dawn. But at 5:59, the glasses flashed. Bonus condition available. If all machines complete cycle with no deaths, Shelter Keeper receives upgrade. The last machine began to cough. Its plug had come loose. Nobody noticed except me and Nina, because she was already watching my face. The machine stopped at 1 second. The door bulged outward. I dove across the floor, grabbed the plug, and slammed it back into the socket. The machine completed its cycle. A gray notification appeared. Reader of False Worlds has absorbed a rule core. Stage 2 unlocked, rule text. New function, hidden environmental rules, are now visible without direct focus. Warning, the system has noticed abnormal survival pattern. The cracked lens repaired itself a little. A silver line replaced part of the crack. When dawn came, the laundromat doors opened and sunlight poured in. Only 113 players remained. From 300 to 113 in one night. People stared at me differently now. Not like a hero. Worse, like a resource. I knew that look. Hungry people do not worship maps, they steal them. So before anyone could corner me, I created a bigger problem. I announced, "Today I'm selling roots." A player with dragon armor demanded I guide everyone for free. I told him his armor would hatch parasites at the first blood moon. He stopped talking. Another player asked how much. I gave the price. Food, water, useful items, and one promise. Anyone who attacks me loses access to every rule I can see. Cole scoffed, "You think promises matter here?" I pointed at the laundromat key, still black in my palm. Spoken contracts matter if the game hears them. That was a guess. The glasses corrected me. Partial truth, contracts matter when witnessed by 3 survivors and 1 dead thing. Dead hand slapped weakly inside the nearest washing machine. Good enough. I made them repeat the terms. Then I sold them the safest route to the supply depot. Not the shortest route. Not the easiest route. The safest. That difference saved us. At the first bridge, a crowd from another shelter sprinted across. I stopped our group. Cole cursed, "Move." The glasses showed the rule floating over the bridge in red. Rule: anyone who runs across this bridge will be counted as prey. The other group ran halfway. The bridge did not break. That would have been too normal. Instead, shadows dropped from the streetlights and stitched themselves into wolves. The wolves ignored everyone standing still. They tore down the runners one by one. Our group froze. I stepped onto the bridge and walked slowly. Every muscle in my body begged me to run. The wolves brushed against my legs, sniffing, waiting for fear to become speed. I kept my pace slow enough to be insulting. Behind me, the others followed. Cole looked like he wanted to sprint just to prove me wrong, but even he was not that stupid after seeing the wolves swallow a man whole. On the far side, Brooke whispered, "How many rules can you see?" "Enough to know the game has bad handwriting." Nina laughed under her breaths. The supply depot was a supermarket with the roof torn off. It looked untouched. Canned food, bottled water, flashlights, medicine, batteries, everything a desperate player would kill for. Which meant it was absolutely a trap. Above the automatic doors. "Welcome, survivors. First 50 players shop free." Through the glasses. "Lie. Only the first 50 items are free." Item 51 claims the shopper's dominant hand. I told the group. Half believed me, half thought I was trying to limit them. So I demonstrated. I picked up 1 bottle of water and wrote the number 1 on the label with a marker. Then a can, number 2, then bandages, number 3. I moved fast, counting everything aloud. By item 49, greedy eyes were twitching. At item 50, I stopped. A player from another group ran past me laughing and grabbed 3 chocolate bars. The shelves opened. A butcher hook dropped from the ceiling and took his right hand clean off. The chocolate bars rolled across the floor. Nobody accused me of being dramatic after that. He rationed exactly 50 free items, then traded for the rest using low-value cursed objects. The game counted cursed items as payment because it wanted them circulating. I bought 3 trash items nobody wanted. A rusty kitchen knife. A broken necklace. A toy compass. Everyone laughed again, but softer this time, because my bad choices had started becoming expensive. The knife's true text said, "Rusty knife used to kill the first infected. Hidden effect deals permanent damage to undead. Evolution condition, kill 100 infected without replacing blade. Current kills 1. The necklace said, "Lost daughter's keepsake. Value useless to players. True value can be exchanged with the City Lord for sanctuary. Warning, City Lord hates armed visitors." The toy compass said, "Child's compass to places that should not exist. Effect points toward the nearest loophole. Cost, user must ask a question like a child." I held the plastic compass and whispered, "Where is the safest door?" The needle spun, then pointed at the supermarket freezer. Nina watched from beside the candy shelf. "Please tell me that thing isn't stronger than my cloak." "It might be stronger than all of us." The freezer door led to a tunnel of blue ice. At the end of the tunnel was an elevator with no buttons. A rule floated above it. Rule: only those who have bought nothing may enter. Everyone groaned. I smiled. "I didn't buy the compass," I said. "I traded a cursed bullet for it." The elevator opened. Brooke stepped closer. "That is the same thing." "Not to the system." She looked at the glasses, then at the elevator. "You're going alone." "I'm going first." Nina slipped in behind me. I stole my cloak, so technically I bought nothing. The elevator accepted her. Brooke looked at her staff. Saint as bait, bought by selection, bound by system. She could not enter. Cole could not either. Victor had not appeared yet, but his shadow had already started to stretch across the city. Nina and I rode down in silence. The elevator sank below the supermarket, below the sewers, below the map itself. Finally, it opened into a tiny room with one vending machine. The machine had no snacks, only cards. Trait card, low presence. Trait card, basic trap making. Trait card, pain delay. Trait card, lie resistance. Each cost one unclaimed reward. I had one upgrade reward from the laundromat, but the glasses had already absorbed it, or so I thought. Through the cracked lens, the vending machine showed hidden text. Unclaimed reward detected. Shelter keeper authority temporary. May be pawned for one trait. I nearly laughed. The game had given me a key for a laundromat. I could trade it for a personal trait. But the key had power. Shelter authority mattered. Giving it up would make me weaker in group control. Nina tapped the glass. Take low presence. You look like a guy monsters already forget. I looked at the options again. Basic trap making sounded useful. Pain delay could save me. Lie resistance was useless. The glasses already handled lies. But low presence had hidden text. Low presence. Public effect harder to notice. Hidden synergy. Reader of false worlds can inspect targets for 3 seconds longer before being detected. Evolution path. Invisible auditor. That was not stealth. That was more time to read. I pawned the shelter key. A cold pressure sank into my skin. The machine dispensed a gray card, and it dissolved into my chest. Stage 2 had shown me rules. Low presence gave me time to use them. When Nina and I returned, the supermarket was surrounded. Victor had arrived. He stood on top of a burned bus, white coat moving in a wind that did not touch anyone else. Above his head floated a golden crown, thin and elegant, shining like a promise. Around him knelt nearly 40 players. Some looked peaceful. Some looked terrified. All of them had the same golden ring around their throats. Victor smiled when he saw me. So you're the one selling truth. His voice was calm, friendly, almost warm. That made him more dangerous than Cole. Cole wanted to hit things. Victor wanted things to kneel. I looked at the crown. Crown of command. Public effect forces obedience from lower will players. Hidden truth does not control loyalty. Records resentment. Resentment threshold 100%. At 100%, all marked subjects become executioners. Current resentment 41%. Crown weakness, commands phrased as requests generate less resentment. Fatal flaw, wearer cannot command someone who owes him nothing and fears him less than the system. Victor climbed down from the bus. I offer structure, he said. People are scared. I give them orders. Orders keep them alive. I looked at the kneeling players and the collars. Symbols. The glasses flashed. Lie. I smiled politely. Nice symbols. Victor's eyes sharpened. He knew I had seen something, though not what. I could use someone like you, he said. Of course he could. Kings love prophets. They put them in towers and call the cage a temple. What's the salary? Protection. I already sell that. Then purpose. I'm allergic. The golden crown pulsed. A thin command slipped into his voice. Join me. The words hit the air like a hook. Everyone around us held their breath. The command reached me, touched the glasses, and shattered into blue dust. Hidden status. Command resisted. Reason, wearer has not accepted Victor's value system. Victor's smile did not move, but something behind it cracked. Cole laughed. Looks like your crown is broken. Victor glanced at him once. Cole's hammer sparked in warning. I stepped between them, not because I liked Cole, but because a fight would waste useful idiots. Victor, I said, your army is hungry. The depot has rules. I can help you take supplies without losing hands. And in return, 3 things: nobody touches my people, nobody commands my people, and you answer one question honestly. He tilted his head. What question? Why are you building an army on day 2? For the first time, his smile became real. Because the system said only one player can survive. I intend to decide who that is. The crowd shivered. But my glasses flashed so hard my vision blurred. System announcement, only one player can survive. Truth rating, partial lie. Correction unavailable at current stage. Partial lie. That changed everything. Only one player can survive did not mean what everyone thought. It had a loophole. The compass in my pocket warmed like it was excited. I did not tell Victor. Some truths are too valuable to spend early. I helped his army loot the depot safely. I counted items, marked page shelves, and showed them which crates contained parasites disguised as canned peaches. In return, Victor kept his word. Mostly, one of his collared players tried to follow me into the freezer tunnel. The rule cut him in half. Victor watched without blinking. Current resentment, 46%. It went up 5 points. I filed that away. A crown that turned followers into executioners was not a threat. It was a bomb with a visible fuse. By the end of the second day, people called me the glass merchant, the cheat reader, the curse broker, and one idiot called me Four Eyes of Doom. Nina liked that one. I hated all of them. Names become handles too. If everyone knows what to call you, they know where to point. So I kept moving. The next objective appeared at sunset. Blood Moon event begins in 3 hours. All players must enter the red district. Reward skill awakening. Penalty, non-participants lose 1 cent. The city map burned into the sky. A red circle marked the entertainment district, where ruined theaters and casinos leaned under a rising moon that already looked wet. Brooke found me on a rooftop, sorting items. You knew the one survivor rule was a lie, she said. I did not look up. I know it's not fully true. That matters. Yes. You didn't tell the others. No. She sat beside me, staff across her knees. 2 feathers were black now, not from healing, from being near whatever collected saintesses. I'm trying to decide if you're saving people or using them, she said. Both. She did not like that answer. I finally looked at her. The game uses everyone. The difference is I tell people the price when I can. When you can. When it doesn't get me killed. That was the ugly truth. Heroism is expensive. I was not rich yet. Brooke was quiet for a moment. Then she said, my staff can heal twice between moonrises. You were right. After that, I feel something watching. I read the staff again. Collector proximity increasing. Third miracle will mark user. Alternative use, convert stored miracle into ward if staff is planted in cursed ground. There it was. Don't heal at the red district, I said. Plant the staff in the stage floor of the main theater when the moon hits the roof. It'll make a ward. How do you know? I tapped the glasses. She stared at me. Do they ever hurt? I almost said no. Then I saw a new line in the corner of my vision. Eye strain 63%. If reaches 100%, wearer will see one truth he cannot endure. Sometimes, I said. The red district was worse than the city. Neon signs flickered with messages that changed when nobody looked straight at them. Slot machines spilled teeth. Theater posters showed players dying before they arrived. Music played from empty speakers, cheerful and rotten. The blood moon rose. Every player who had survived came to the district. Victor's army took the central street. Cole stood nearby, hammer ready, trying to pretend he had not started following my routes. Nina disappeared onto the rooftops. Brooke stayed close to the main theater. The announcement sounded. Skill Awakening Trial. Each player must enter one attraction. Survive the attraction to awaken a skill. Higher risk grants higher reward. Attractions lit up. House of Mirrors. Laughing Casino. Red's Theater. Carnival of Teeth. Love Tunnel. Execution Arcade. Players rushed toward the flashiest doors. I did not. I read. House of Mirrors. Public reward, reflection skill. Hidden risk, reflection may leave with original body. Survival rate 12%. Laughing Casino. Public reward, luck skill. Hidden risk, casino keeps winners. Survival rate 8%. Red's Theater. Public reward, performance skill. Hidden risk, audience chooses ending. Survival rate 22%. Hidden route, backstage crew entrance. Reward changes if player refuses spotlight. Execution Arcade. Public reward, combat skill. Hidden risk, player becomes next game cabinet. Survival rate 17%. Then the toy compass warmed. I whispered, where is the loophole? The needle pointed behind the Red's Theater. Of course. Not the stage, not the audience. Backstage, I slipped away. Cole grabbed my shoulder. Where are you going? I stared at his hand until he removed it. Not the hammer attraction, I said. He glanced at the execution arcade. It says combat skill. It also says permanent furniture. He went pale. I did not owe him more, but Cole's hammer was still useful if pointed correctly. Go to the Carnival of Teeth, I said. Your hammer can't strike first, but carnival monsters always bite before asking questions. Let them trigger your rule. He looked suspicious. Why help me? Because if you die, Victor gets your hammer. That was enough. I entered the Red Theater through a door labeled Employees Only. The hallway inside smelled like dust and old blood. Costumes hung on hooks, twitching as I passed. A faceless stagehand pointed at a rack of masks. A rule appeared. Rule: all performers must wear a role. But the hidden text under it said, Loophole crew are not performers. So I picked up a broom. The stagehand paused. I swept the floor. It let me pass. That was the kind of nonsense the game loved. It did not care what you were, only what category you could force yourself into. Weapon user, shopper, shelter keeper, performer, crew. Definitions were cages. Definitions were keys. Backstage, I found the skill altar. It was a cracked director's chair facing a wall of scripts. Each script had a title. Hero, villain, martyr, traitor, comic relief, sacrifice. The obvious choice was hero, stronger presence, better charisma, maybe a combat boost. The glasses revealed the costs. Hero, hidden cost, must accept public danger first. Villain, hidden cost, system increases hatred toward user. Martyr, hidden cost, cannot refuse lethal sacrifice request. Traitor, hidden cost, allies receive betrayal warnings, even when user is loyal. Comic relief, hidden cost, pain becomes entertainment. Sacrifice, hidden cost, obvious. I kept reading until I saw a script fallen under the chair. Stagehand, public reward, none. Hidden reward, can move props between scenes. System rating, F. True function, alter small environmental details before events begin. Evolution path, rule editor. I picked stagehand. The director's chair creaked. A spotlight slammed down on me. An invisible audience booed. Then the world turned into a stage. I stood in a fake street while painted infected shuffled from cardboard alleys. A script appeared in my hand. Scene: the coward dies first. The system wanted me to perform. I swept the floor. The infected stopped. The audience quieted. I dragged a painted trash can 3 feet to the left. The script changed. Scene error. Prop position invalid. Recalculating monster path. The infected walked into each other and collapsed like puppets with cut strings. I moved a fake street sign. Scene error. Exit sign now points to backstage. A door appeared. I walked out. Skill awakened. Stagehand's touch, F rank. Effect: move minor environmental objects before a rule fully activates. Hidden synergy. Reader of false worlds can identify which props support hidden rules. Warning: major edits attract auditors. F rank again. Perfect. When I returned to the street, chaos had bloomed. Players stumbled from attractions with powers and missing pieces. One could breathe fire, but his tongue burned black. One could summon knives, but every blade cut his own shadow. One had won luck from the casino and was laughing, pockets full of coins, while a velvet rope slowly tightened around his waist. Cole came out of the Carnival of Teeth covered in bite marks and grinning. Lightning crawled over his arms. Skill awakened. Storm counter. Condition: damage taken before activation. He looked at me with something almost like respect. Your tip worked. Try not to get addicted to being bitten. Brooke had planted her staff in the Red Theater stage. A white dome covered a small group of injured players. The black feathers stopped spreading. Nina dropped from a sign with pockets full of stolen tokens. I robbed the casino's lost and found, she said. Pretty sure the building hates me now. Behind her, the laughing casino grew legs. Yes, the whole casino stood up. Windows became eyes, doors became mouths. Slot machines rolled under its skin like organs. It turned toward Nina. I stared at her. You stole from the building. It had a lost and found. That means those things were already stolen by the casino. So I stole stolen things. The casino screamed. Every player in the district turned. Victor raised one hand. His collared army formed ranks. He looked calm, but the glasses showed his crown pulsing. Current resentment, 59%. Command load, heavy. Warning, repeated forced bravery increases resentment quickly. Victor commanded his subjects to attack the casino. They charged. Resentment jumped to 66%. The casino opened its mouth and fired coins like bullets. People died. Nina looked at me, plans. I adjusted my glasses and read the monster. Boss laughing casino. Public weakness destroy jackpot heart. Hidden weakness cannot refuse a higher bet. House rule, all bets must be honored. Current stolen property, 1,842 player regrets, 913 lucky outcomes, 44 names, 1 unpaid resurrection. A higher bet. I looked at the phoenix feather charm in my sleeve. Revives the next dead flame once. Value extremely high to fire-type enemies. Not enough. Then I looked at Brooke's staff inside the theater dome. Stored miracles, 2. Converted ward value, high purity. Then Cole's hammer. Storm charge, unstable. Bet value, divine weapon, high risk. Then Victor's crown. Value, kingdom class authority. A stupid plan formed. The best kind. I ran into the street and shouted at the casino. I challenged the house. The giant building stopped. Every eye window focused on me. A green card table burst from the pavement between us. A dealer with no skin appeared behind it. Victor stared at me, Cole cursed. Brooke shouted my name. Nina began laughing because she was the only one who understood I was about to do something insane on purpose. The dealer spoke, place your bet. I placed the phoenix feather charm on the table. The casino laughed so hard coins rained from its roof. Small flame, the dealer said. I added the toy compass. The casino leaned closer. I added the laundromat memory contracts I had collected, each regret signed by machine steam. The casino stopped laughing. I pointed at Victor. He adds the authority of a king. Victor's eyes turned cold. I do not. I smiled. You said you offer structure. Prove it. His followers looked at him. That was the trap. If Victor refused publicly, his savior image cracked. If he accepted, he risked the crown's value. Either way, resentment moved. Victor placed one hand on the crown. I add one royal command, he said. The crown flashed. Resentment, 71%. Cole stepped forward, jaw tight, and I add one strike from the thunder god hammer. The hammer roared. Brooke, after one long look at me, lifted her staff from the stage. The ward flickered. I add 2 stored miracles, she said. Nina tossed a pouch onto the table. I add whatever I stole. The dealer's dead eyes widened. The casino could not refuse a higher bet. What do you want? It asked. I looked through the glasses at the table. House rule, all bets must define win and loss. Hidden loophole, house cannot evaluate games with impossible victory conditions. I said we bet that you cannot make me laugh. The casino went silent. Then every speaker in the district turned on. It unleashed jokes, memories, illusions, slapstick deaths, childhood embarrassment pulled from players' minds, Cole as a toddler falling into a pool, Victor practicing royal poses in a mirror, Nina getting chased by geese, Brooke crying during a cartoon. The whole district began laughing. I almost did too. Then the glasses showed me the truth behind each illusion. Stolen regret. Stolen fear. Stolen shame. Stolen name. Not comedy. Theft. My smile died. The casino tried harder. It stretched its own face into absurd shapes. It made infected dance. It dropped anvils on ghosts. It played laugh tracks until windows shattered. I did not laugh, because every joke was just pain wearing a mask. The dealer's hands trembled. House loses if challenger does not laugh within 60 seconds. Remaining 3, 2, 1. The casino screamed. The card table split open. Jackpot heart exposed. Cole struck after the casino attacked first with coin bullets. Brooke's miracles pinned the heart. Victor's command forced his army to pull survivors away instead of dying in place. Nina stole the jackpot key from the dealer's mouth. I used stagehand's touch on a tiny prop, the casino's open sign. I flipped it to closed. A hidden rule snapped. House cannot operate while closed. The giant casino collapsed into a pile of chips and rotten velvet. Reward text filled the sky. Boss cleared by illegal bet. Contributors receive abnormal rewards. My glasses absorbed a green chip. Reader of False Worlds has absorbed a death flag core. Stage 3 unlocked death flags. New function, see near future fatal conditions caused by current choices. Warning, this is not prophecy, it is cause and effect. A faint line appeared above Nina's head. Will die in 14 minutes if she opens the red pouch. I turned slowly toward her. She was already reaching into a red pouch she had stolen from the casino. Nina. She froze. Don't open that. She looked at the pouch, then at me. Why? Because it opens you back. She dropped it. The pouch screamed. For the first time, Nina looked genuinely impressed. The blood moon ended with 79 players alive. I had entered the district as a useful freak. I left as something worse. Necessary. And necessary people get invited to cages with nicer furniture. Victor made his move the next morning. He sent 3 collared players to invite me to his camp. They were polite, too polite. The golden rings around their throats tightened every time they used the word please. I went, not because I trusted him, because the glasses showed death flags above all 3. Will die in 22 minutes if Ryan refuses the invitation. Will die in 21 minutes if Ryan attacks the messenger. Will die in 19 minutes if Victor grows impatient. The invitation was a hostage note written in living people. Victor's camp occupied a courthouse, perfect choice, tall steps, marble columns, a statue of justice with no head. He had turned it into a kingdom. Players cooked food in the lobby. Guards stood at every door. Injured people rested under organized blankets. It worked. That was the dangerous part. Victor was not stupid. He was not even useless. His rule kept people alive. People liked being told what to do when thinking hurt too much. He sat in the judge's chair with the crown of command floating above him. Ryan, he said, I want to make you an offer. I hate those. You hate bad offers. He gestured around the courthouse. Information should guide power. Power should protect information. Join me as my advisor. No collar, no forced commands, equal authority and strategy. Every person in the room watched. It was a good offer. That made it a better trap. The crown text shifted. Hidden clause forming. If Ryan accepts public office under Victor, Crown may classify him as royal asset. Royal assets can be commanded during emergency. I sat on the witness stand instead of the chair offered to me. No. Victor's smile thinned. You have not heard the benefits. I read the footnotes. His eyes narrowed. Death flags appeared above 2 guards. Will attack if Victor taps right armrest. So I moved a paperweight on the judge's desk with stagehand's touch. A tiny prop, minor environmental object. The paperweight rolled under the right armrest. Victor tapped. The armrest did not click. The guards hesitated, confused, because their hidden signal failed. Victor noticed. So did I. His smile vanished for the first time. I leaned forward. Your crown doesn't create loyalty, it stores resentment. The room went cold. Victor's collared players stiffened. His voice lowered, careful. No, you be careful. Every forced command adds pressure. When it reaches 100, your army stops being an army. I looked at the kneeling players. They become executioners. Nobody moved. Then the crown pulsed. Resentment 78%. Victor stood slowly. You think exposing the danger makes them leave? He asked. I shrugged. No, fear keeps people in bad systems longer than chains do. A few faces flinched. But now they know the chain has a lock, and I know locks. That was enough. I did not try to start a rebellion in his own courthouse. That would be heroic, which usually means stupid with better music. Instead, I gave them one piece of survival advice. If he commands you, ask him to phrase it as a request. It hurts less. Then I walked out. Victor let me. Because killing me publicly would raise resentment. Commanding me might fail. Bargaining had failed, so he did what smart tyrants do. He waited for a cleaner knife. The cleaner knife arrived that night. System event. The first auction will begin at midnight. All players may bid with coins, items, memories, skills, lifespan, or names. Rare lots include territory rights, resurrection tokens, and class upgrades. An auction in a death game is never about buying items. It is about making desperate people sell themselves. The auction house appeared in the middle of the city, a black tower with golden doors. Every survivor entered because the system made the bait too sweet. Resurrection tokens, territory rights, class upgrades, maybe a way out. Victor came with his court. Cole came with his hammer and bruised pride. Brooke came because healing items would be sold. Nina came because every auction house deserves to be robbed. I came because the compass pointed at it before I even asked. Inside, the seats arranged themselves by estimated value. Victor was placed in the front row, Brooke near the middle, Cole near the middle too, though he complained. Nina was placed near the back until her stolen goods were counted, then her chair slid sideways like the room could not decide whether she was poor or a national threat. My chair was placed in the last row. Everyone laughed. Then the glasses flashed. Seating based on visible inventory. Hidden assets ignored if system cannot classify them. Reader of false worlds currently unpriced. Unpriced. Not low value. Unknown value. That was better. The auctioneer was a tall figure with a mirror for a face. It raised a hammer made of bone. Lot 1 class upgrade stone. Starting bid, 10 gold coins or 1 year of life. Bidding exploded. Players sold coins, gear, memories. One player gave up 5 years for the stone. It made his armor shine, then aged his face until his hair turned gray. Lot 2 resurrection token. The room went feral. Victor bid a royal command. Cole bid the right to feel fear for 1 year, which was insane and very Cole. Without fear, he would become stronger and dumber at the same time. Brooke whispered, "Can that token work?" I read it. Resurrection token. Public effect revives user after death. Hidden cost, user returns as auction property. Ownership after use, auction house. No, I said, it's a slave receipt. Brooke's face hardened. Victor looked back at me. He had heard enough. He raised one finger. A collared player across the aisle stood and shouted, "I bid Ryan's glasses." The room froze. The auctioneer turned its mirror face toward me. Third-party bids require ownership proof. Victor smiled. The collared player said, "Ryan accepted supplies from Victor's depot route. Under emergency salvage law, all assets gained during shared operation are claimable by the highest authority." That was clever. Twisted but clever. The system considered it. Text formed above me. Claim evaluation, 37% valid. If uncontested, item may be seized for auction. My heart kicked. The glasses could be stolen by legal nonsense. Victor did not need to beat me. He needed the system to define me incorrectly. Definitions were cages. Definitions were keys. I stood. I contest. The auctioneer tilted its head. On what basis? I looked through the glasses, scanning every floating rule in the auction house. There were hundreds, layered like spiderwebs. Auction Rule 12. Ownership may be challenged by superior claim. Auction Rule 19. Bound items cannot be sold without wearer consent unless wearer is property. Auction Rule 22. Debts transfer through recognized authority. Auction Rule 31. False bids are punished by tongue removal. Auction Rule 44. The auctioneer must honor any valid bid category announced in opening statement. Opening statement. Coins, items, memories, skills, lifespan, names. Names. I smiled. I bid the name of the legal category used against me. The auction house paused. Victor's eyes sharpened. The auctioneer asked, "Clarify." Emergency salvage law depends on a recognized highest authority. I bid the name of that authority category. The glasses revealed the hidden name. Temporary Expedition Commander. I said it aloud. I bid Temporary Expedition Commander. The auctioneer's mirror face cracked slightly. Name bid accepted. Category name transferred to Ryan for duration of auction. All claims based on prior category invalid until auction ends. The collared player choked. Victor stood. That is absurd. Welcome to law. The auctioneer slammed its hammer. Claim invalid. A blade flashed from the ceiling and cut out the collared player's tongue for placing a false bid. Resentment 82%. Victor did not look at him. Resentment 85%. There, the crown was climbing. I could have stopped. Instead, I used the momentum. Since I currently hold Temporary Expedition Commander, I said, I call a safety audit on all lots. The auctioneer stiffened. Safety audits require payment. I I tossed the red pouch Nina had almost opened onto the stage. Unopened casino death pouch, high-grade cursed container. The auctioneer accepted it. Every item on stage revealed its hidden cost to the room for 10 seconds. The resurrection token showed slave ownership. The class upgrade stone showed lifespan drain. The territory rights showed monster tax. The miracle potion showed organ replacement. The hall erupted. Players who had been about to ruin themselves started screaming. Victor's carefully controlled army saw that their king had nearly bid them into worse chains. Resentment 91%. Victor turned to me with murder in his eyes. Good. Anger makes people obvious. The auctioneer raised lot 9. Broken crown fragment, starting bid. The toy compass in my pocket went hot. Loophole. I read the fragment. Broken crown fragment. Public effect strengthens command items. Hidden effect adds 1 resentment point when used near a false king. True value can force crown of command to reveal current resentment to all subjects. I needed that. Victor needed it more. He bid 10 years. I bid 1 memory, the moment I was mocked in the White Room. Brooke looked at me sharply. Cole looked away. The auctioneer weighed it. Regret value high. Humiliation value high. Strategic significance extreme. Victor bid 15 years. I bid the memory of Cole saying please at the laundromat. Cole snapped hey. The auctioneer accepted its value as public humiliation leverage. Victor bid a royal command. The crown flared. Resentment 94%. I had 1 move left. I bid my title. Temporary Expedition Commander. The auctioneer slammed the hammer. Sold to Ryan. The title vanished from me. The crown fragment landed in my hand, cold and sharp. Victor stared like he was trying to kill me with manners. I held up the fragment. Want to see something fun? I crushed it. Golden dust filled the auction hall. Above every collared player appeared the same number. Crown resentment 95%. The room went silent. Victor's face went white. The auctioneer laughed for the first time. Then the final lot rose from the stage. Lot 10. Blank player record. Effect removes 1 player from the registry. Starting bid 1 true name. The glasses screamed. System lie detected. Blank player record is connected to true win condition. Only registered players are bound by 1 survivor rule. Unregistered survivors may pass through certain gates. Warning purchase will alert system administrator. There it was. The partial lie became a shape. Only 1 player could survive because only players counted. Remove someone from the player registry and they might survive outside the rule. The auction hall turned hungry. Most people did not understand. Victor did. Brooke did because she watched my face. Nina did because she heard my breath stop. The auctioneer said 1 true name. A true name was not a first name. It was identity, the root label the system used to hold you. The glasses showed mine, hovering behind my reflection. RYAN player 299, role, anomaly candidate, ownership contested. If I bid that, I might erase myself. But if Victor got the blank record, he would own the loophole. Victor stood. I bid. I threw the Lost Daughter's keepsake necklace onto the stage. The auctioneer paused. Invalid, lot requires 1 true name. Not buying, I said, exchanging. The necklace pulsed. True value can be exchanged with City Lord for sanctuary. Auction house is located on City Lord territory. City Lord claim outranks auction bid for family property. The floor cracked. A giant hand made of asphalt and roots burst through the stage and grabbed the necklace. The auctioneer screamed. A voice shook the tower. My child. The auction house had been built on someone else's land. I had not come to win the auction. I had come to make the landlord angry. The city lord rose through the stage. It was not human. It was a walking district, a giant shape wearing streets like veins, with traffic lights for eyes and a broken fountain in its chest. The necklace sank into that fountain. Sanctuary claim activated. All guests holding no active bids may request exit. I grabbed Brooke's wrist. Nina grabbed mine. Cole, for once, understood fast and grabbed the back of my hoodie. Victor had active bids. So did half his army. The city lord roared. The auction house folded inward. We ran through a side door the toy compass pointed toward, downstairs that became alleys, through alleys that became cracks in the map. Behind us, the auctioneer begged in a language made of receipts. At the exit, I saw the blank player record sitting on the edge of the broken stage. Naina saw it too. No, I said. She grinned. Naina. She vanished. The auction house collapsed. For 3 seconds, I thought she was dead. Then a hand reached out of a crack in the street, holding the blank record. Nina crawled after it, covered in dust, smiling like a devil. Worth it, she coughed. Above her head. We'll die in 5 seconds if record remains unclaimed. I snatched the record from her. The death flag vanished. But the moment my fingers touched it, the sky turned black. A giant eye opened behind the clouds. Administrator attention, confirmed. Every player in the city heard the next announcement. Anomaly detected. Bounty issued. Reward for killing Ryan, 1 safe exit ticket. Silence fell. Then every surviving player turned toward me. Even people I had saved. Even people I had guided. Even people holding food because of my rules. 1 safe exit ticket was not just bait. It was the best bait. Cole stepped in front of me, hammer raised. For 1 strange second, I thought he was protecting me. Then he said, run. That was not friendship. It was debt, pride. Maybe the memory he had paid to a washing machine had left a gap where some hatred used to be. I ran. Brooke, Nina, and Cole followed. Behind us, Victor's voice rang across the district. Bring him alive if possible. His crown pulsed. Resentment 96%. We fled into the subway. The map said it was closed. The glasses said, unregistered maintenance route. Entry rule must carry a blank record or a dead ticket. Danger train that remembers every passenger it killed. The stairs shook as players chased us. Nina locked the gate behind us, but the mob hit it like water. Brooke was breathing hard. Cole's hammer sparked. I gripped the blank player record, feeling it twitch like a living sheet of paper. We need to use it, Brooke said. Not yet. Ryan, the entire city wants you dead. Exactly. If we use it wrong, we waste the only proof the one survivor rule can be dodged. Cole looked at me like I was insane. You are arguing with paper while a murder parade is coming down the stairs. The subway tunnel roared. A train appeared in the darkness, old and silver, windows full of pale faces pressed against the glass. Train of last stops. Public function, transport. Hidden rule, train kills anyone without fare. Fare accepted, dead ticket, final regret, or proof of non-existence. Weakness, cannot carry passengers to a station that has been renamed. Stagehand's touch tingled in my fingers. A station sign hung above the platform. Central Station. Minor environmental object. Important rule anchor. I reached up and twisted the sign. It was bolted in place, but Stagehand's touch ignored normal bolts if the rule had not fully activated. The sign rotated. The letters flickered. Central Station became Rental Station because I covered the C with a torn poster. The train screamed. Destination invalid. Recalculating. The doors opened anyway. Inside, I said. Cole stared. You changed a train route with trash. I changed what the train thought the station was called. That is the stupidest smart thing I've ever seen. We boarded. The mob broke through the gate just as the doors closed. Victor stood at the top of the stairs, calm as ever. Our eyes met through the subway window. He raised one hand. The golden collars on several players tightened. They threw themselves onto the tracks, trying to block the train. Resentment 98%. The train ran them over. Victor's face did not change. Resentment 99%. 1 point left. The train rushed into darkness. Inside, the dead passengers stared at us. A conductor with no face punched invisible tickets. Fare, it said. Brooke offered a regret. The train accepted. Nina offered a stolen casino token. The train almost bit her hand off, then accepted because the token still smelled like unpaid luck. Cole had no regret. He wanted to spend and no ticket. The conductor turned toward him. I looked at the hammer. Thunder God Hammer. Contains divine backlash from innocent harm. Stored charge enough to count as final regret if owner admits fault. Cole's jaw clenched. I already paid regret once. Pay the real one, I said. The train shook. The conductor lifted a hole punch shaped like a guillotine. Cole stared at the dead faces in the windows. For once, he was not loud. I regret needing people to be scared of me, he said. The hammer dimmed. The train accepted. Then the conductor turned to me. Fair proof of non-existence accepted. The blank player record fluttered. I held it up. The train lined away from it. Not fear. Recognition. The conductor bowed and moved on. That told me the record was more than an item. It was an anti-definition, a hole in the player list. The train stopped at a station that was not on any map. The sign said, "Places that should not exist." The toy compass spun happily. He stepped out into a market under the city, lit by lanterns filled with tiny storms. Monsters ran stalls. Faceless merchants sold teeth, keys, rumors, and canned sunlight. A giant spider knitted bulletproof sweaters. A vending machine argued with a ghost over refund policy. No players. The glasses labeled it. Black market between rules. Access loophole routes only. Safe conduct valid until first theft, first attack, or first unpaid question. Main currency, secrets. Nina whispered, "I'm home." I grabbed her scarf, "No stealing." She looked offended. "You say that like breathing is optional." "It is here, probably for sale." He needed 3 things: a way to hide me from the bounty, a way to use the blank player record safely, and a way to survive Victor when his crown finally broke. The market had answers, but every answer had teeth. The first stall sold masks. Mask of another face. Effect changes appearance. Hidden cost, original face forgotten by allies. No. The second sold silence. Bottle of unsaid things. Effect hides one secret from the system. Hidden cost, secret leaks into dreams of nearest enemy. Interesting but risky. The third stall sold definitions. A creature made of paper sat behind it, folding and unfolding itself. Buying or selling, it asked. Buying. Then pay a secret. I considered giving a small one. The glasses warned. Paper broker detects secret quality. Low quality payment offends vendor. Offended vendor rewrites buyer's worst title. Worst title. Ryan player 299, anomaly candidate, coward who survived by reading. Ouch. I gave a real secret. The one survivor rule only binds registered players. The paper creature unfolded all at once. Every stall in the market went quiet. Brooke whispered, "Ryan." Too late. A secret that valuable changed the air. The paper broker smiled without a mouth. Excellent payment. It placed 3 paper strips on the counter. 1. Safe method to use blank player record. 2. Method to hide bounty signal for 24 hours. 3. Method to make a command crown reach 100% resentment without killing its subjects. My pulse jumped. I reached for all 3. The broker slammed a paper hand over them. 1 secret buys 1 answer. Of course. I looked at the strips. The safe record mattered long term. The bounty signal mattered now. Victor mattered in minutes. The compass in my pocket spun before I asked. It pointed at the 3rd strip. I bought the crown method. The broker unfolded the strip. To break a false king. Make him give 1 command that saves his enemy and harms his pride. Resentment rises when subjects realize the king values image over them. Final point requires public contradiction of royal identity. That was abstract and annoying, but useful. Brooke stepped forward. I'll pay for the bounty method. No, I said. She ignored me and looked at the broker. Secret. The broker leaned close. Brooke's face tightened. My staff is not a healing item. It is bait. The broker shivered with delight and handed her the 2nd strip. To hide a bounty signal. Enter any place where names are not spoken. Remain unnamed for 1 full hour. Anyone who calls the target by name resets the process. Best location, theater of unlabeled masks. Nina sighed, that sounds horrible. Cole crossed his arms, what about the record? The broker waited. Nina slowly lifted 1 hand. I grabbed her wrist, no. She pulled free, I know what secret I'm paying. Her voice became softer. My cloak is learning to move without me. The shadow at her feet twitched. The broker handed over the first strip. To use blank player record safely. Do not erase a player. Erase the category that makes them a player. Required registry alter, identity witness, and one contradiction accepted by the system. The paper burned after I read it. I wanted to yell at Nina for revealing something dangerous. I wanted to thank Brooke. I wanted to pretend Cole would not remember all of it. But then the market bells rang. A merchant shouted, "Bounty hunters entering." Victor had found the route. Not alone. His army poured into the black market, collars glowing. Victor walked behind them with his crown bright as sunrise. He smiled when he saw me. "There you are." The market rules flashed. Safe conduct ends if first attack occurs. Question or commands attacks. Answer depends on wording. Victor raised his hand. Everyone sees Ryan. The market considered the command an attack. Safe conduct shattered. Every monster merchant ducked under its stall. The black market became a battlefield. But it was not Victor's battlefield. It was mine. Rules hung everywhere. Do not spill blood near the lantern cellar. Do not step on the spider's yarn. Do not lie to the mirror butcher. Do not touch unpaid sunlight. Do not ask the vending machine for change. I could see all of it. Victor's army charged. I moved one prop. A small sign beside the spider's stall said, "Please do not step on yarn." I used stagehand's touch and slid it 2 inches left, making the protected yarn area look like open path. The first 5 soldiers stepped on silver thread. The spider screamed, customers damaging merchandise. It wrapped them instantly in bulletproof sweaters so tight they could not move. Cole blocked another group. They attacked first, so his hammer answered. Lightning filled the market, but he aimed at the floor, not bodies, because he knew innocent backlash still waited. Nina vanished between stalls, cutting collars where she could. Brooke planted her staff in a crack of cursed ground. A ward bloomed, not healing anyone, just blocking forced commands within a small circle. I ran toward the theater of unlabeled masks, because the bounty signal still burned over me like a red arrow. Victor followed. He did not run, kings hate running. He walked fast enough for others to run for him. Inside the theater, masks hung from every wall. None had names, not tragedy, not comedy, not demon, not hero, just blank faces. Rule. No names may be spoken inside. Any named target becomes visible to the hunter behind the curtain. I needed 1 hour unnamed. Victor needed 1 word. He entered smiling. Ryan. The curtain behind the stage twitched. The timer reset to 1 hour. I cursed under my breath. A hunter behind the curtain began breathing. Victor's smile widened. That is all it takes. Yes and no, because the rule punished names. It did not punish wrong names. I grabbed a blank mask and put it on. Identity status unlabeled. Victor said my name again. The curtain twitched, but the hunter hesitated. Name mismatch. Target wearing unlabeled role. Clarification required. I used stagehand's touch on the playbill beside the entrance. It was blank. I moved a strip of torn paper across the top so it read, "Cast nobody." The theater accepted it. Victor tried again. Ryan is here. The hunter behind the curtain whispered, "Nobody is here." Timer resumed. Victor's eyes flashed with anger. Outside, his army struggled. Resentment stayed at 99%, vibrating like a bomb that wanted permission. I remembered the paper broker's method. Make him give 1 command that saves his enemy and harms his pride. Final point requires public contradiction of royal identity. Victor could not command me, but he could command his subjects. I needed him to save me. Ridiculous. Perfect. The hunter behind the curtain reached 1 long arm through the fabric. It held scissors made of bone. If it found my name, it would cut it out of the world. I stepped backward toward Victor. He frowned. I lowered my voice. "If that thing kills me, the bounty reward goes to the theater, not you." His crown pulsed. I continued. "Your army came all this way because you promised them my death would buy a safe exit. But if a curtain monster takes it, you look like a king who can't even collect his own prize." Victor's jaw tightened. The hunter's scissors touched my mask. Victor raised his hand. "Protect him," he commanded. His own followers froze outside the doorway. The command crossed the market. Several collared players rushed into the theater and threw themselves between me and the hunter. They did not want to. Their eyes were full of hatred and confusion. They were saving the enemy. Their king had ordered them to kill. Resentment trembled. Still 99%. Not enough. Victor realized it too and smiled. I can bear a little embarrassment. I nodded, a king can. Then I looked at the collared players. But a real king would have said please. The words hit harder than a sword. The followers looked at Victor. He had told them all his rule was protection. He had called them citizens, not tools. He had promised structure. Yet when his pride was threatened, he forced them to protect the person they had been hunting. The crown cracked. Public contradiction accepted. Royal identity conflicts with coercive command. Resentment 100%. The golden collars turned red. Victor looked up. For the first time, he was afraid. Every collared player turned toward him. Executioner state activated. The theater of unlabeled masks exploded into chaos. Victor shouted commands. The crown sparked and failed. His former subjects moved like puppets with cut strings and knives, not mindless, worse, focused. I slipped out through a side curtain because the bounty timer had finally completed. Bounty signal hidden, 24 hours. Outside, the black market was burning. Cole dragged Brooke away from the spider stall. Nina cut the last collar off a shaking player, then had to dodge when that same player sprinted toward Victor with murder in their eyes. I looked back once. Victor stood on the stage, crown cracked, white coat torn, still trying to look royal while his kingdom became a guillotine. He met my eyes. The crown split in half. A burst of golden light swallowed the theater. When the dust cleared, Victor was gone. Not dead. The glasses showed no corpse text, no loot, no final reward. Only one line. Victor has been transferred to the court above for emergency review. Status pending. That was not comforting. The system had saved its favorite tyrant. Or something above the system had. We left the black market with fewer enemies, more questions, and one terrible prize, the method to use the blank player record. For one day, my bounty signal was hidden. But the city had changed. Players who survived Victor's crown-breaking wandered without orders. Some thanked me, some hated me because freedom meant they had to choose again. Cole became strangely quiet after seeing what forced obedience did to people. Brooke's staff stopped growing black feathers, but now the collector's mark appeared as a tiny eye on the wood. Nina's shadow moved half a second late. And my glasses kept upgrading. Not with fanfare. With warnings. Death flags appeared everywhere now. Will die tonight if he sleeps near open water. Will mutate after 3 more uses of fire skill. Will betray nearest ally when hungry. Currently being watched by dungeon boss. Will kill Ryan if offered safe exit. That last one appeared above too many heads. Seeing death flags did not make the world simpler. It made every conversation a loaded crossbow. We needed a base, not a shelter for one night, a place the game did not fully own. The toy compass pointed toward the city lord's fountain. The lost daughter's keepsake had bought us sanctuary rights, but I had not claimed them. The city lord owed me for returning the necklace. That kind of debt mattered in a world built from rules. We went to the old city square. The giant fountain in the center was cracked. Water flowed upward. The city lord's shape rose slowly from streets and roofs, traffic light eyes glowing. Most players backed away. I stepped forward holding no weapon. The glasses showed the rule. City lord hates armed visitors. Likes returned memories. Cannot shelter registered players permanently. Can shelter guests, citizens, or property. Definitions again. The city lord's voice rolled through the square. You returned what was mine. I want sanctuary, I said. Players bring war. I'm not asking as a player. The blank player record warmed in my hand. Brooke stood behind me, staff lowered. Nina kept both hands visible, which for her counted as a religious miracle. Cole set his hammer on the ground. The city lord lined down. What are you? The system expected one answer. Player. I gave another. Temporary guest requesting civic review. The city lord's eyes flickered. The toy compass clicked. The glasses showed a hidden route opening. Civic review possible. Requirements: 3 witnesses, 1 contradiction, 1 service to city. 3 witnesses were easy: Brooke, Nina, Cole. Contradiction was harder. To remove the player category, I had to prove I was both a player and not a player under the system's own definitions. The service came first. The city lord raised one massive hand and pointed toward the East District. My SDRETS are infected with a false safe zone. Remove it. A quest appeared. City service, destroy the smiling shelter. Reward civic review access. Failure sanctuary denied. Hidden danger, smiling shelter feeds on trust. The East District shelter was a church-shaped building with warm lights, clean beds, and a sign that said all are welcome. Through the glasses. Smiling shelter. Function consumes hope. Public rule, safe for the wounded. Hidden rule, anyone who says, I trust this place, becomes part of the walls. Core weakness, cannot digest suspicion. Non-combat method, overfeed with doubts. That was almost funny. Most monsters fed on fear or blood. This one fed on trust. So I built the one weapon nobody expected. A rumors. We gathered survivors and told them the truth, but not in a heroic speech. Speeches create believers. I needed skeptics. I whispered different details to different groups. The beds count your dreams. The soup asks your teeth questions. The windows blink when you pray. The blankets are made from people who felt safe. Each statement was true enough to survive the glasses. By dusk, dozens of players stood outside the smiling shelter, staring at it with deep suspicion. The shelter's warm lights flickered. A mouth appeared in the doorway. Come in, rest, trust. Everyone stepped back. The walls sagged. Suspicion 62%. Digestion impaired. We needed more. I sent Nina to steal the welcome mat. The shelter screamed, thief. Nina waved the mat over her head. It knows ownership. Suspicion jumped to 78%. Brooke planted her staff and created a ward that did not heal, only revealed old blood stains under the clean beds. Suspicion jumped to 91%. Cole walked up and raised his hammer. The shelter whispered, you can be safe here. Cole stared at it, then laughed once. I don't even trust myself. Suspicion hit 100%. The smiling shelter vomited every person it had absorbed into its walls. Some were alive, some were not. The building collapsed inward, leaving behind a glowing brick. Trust Eater Core. Hidden effect can transform a false shelter into a suspicious shelter. Suspicious shelter bonus cannot be entered by enemies unless they doubt themselves. I took it. The city lord accepted the service. At the fountain, the civic review began. 3 witnesses stood around me. Brooke said Ryan is a player because the system marked him as one. Nina said Ryan is not a player because the system can't price his glasses and bounty signals can be hidden from him. Cole frowned. Ryan is a player because everyone wants the reward for killing him. The glasses flashed. Need contradiction stronger. Cole looked annoyed at being corrected by reality. Then he said Ryan is not a player because no player I know would keep saving people who might kill him for a ticket. That hit harder than expected. The blank player record unfolded in my hands. A line appeared. Contradiction accepted. Now I needed an identity witness. Someone had to say what I was without using the player category. Brooke looked at me. He is the one who reads the rules. Nina said he is the one who finds the cracks. Cole looked away, then muttered, he is the one who makes strong people look stupid. The city lord seemed to enjoy that. The record burned. A blank square appeared in front of my name. Erase target category. Player. Warning, removing player status may remove access to rewards, levels, system protection, and official victory. Proceed. My finger hovered. This was the point everything had been moving toward. If I erased myself from the player list, the bounty might fail. The one survivor rule might not apply, but I might also lose the ability to gain upgrades. Worse, the system might classify me as a monster, item, or error. The glasses gave one more warning. System administrator watching. Using record on Ryan will reveal reader of false world's location permanently. Not yet. I lowered the record. Everyone stared. Brooke whispered, why stop? Because the system wants me to panic use it. The toy compass spun wildly. I asked it, where is the better question? The needle pointed at the word player on the record. Not the name. The category. The paper broker's instruction returned. Do not erase a player. Erase the category that makes them a player. I smiled so slowly that Cole took a step back. I touched the word player itself, not my own listing. The record trembled. Target selected, category definition player. Authority insufficient. Need access to registry alter. The record snapped shut. There it was. Part 2 of the loophole. We needed the registry alter. The glasses showed a map fragment burned into the paper. Location tower of first selection. Status above starting room. Access opens after day 7. Guardian sword hunting angel. My smile vanished. The sword hunting angel. The thing hunting the player who took the divine sword. I had forgotten him. That was stupid. The sky split with a trumpet made of screaming metal. A golden beam fell in the North District. The player with the divine sword had survived 6 days by burning everything near him. His 30-day power was not expired, but the angel had found him early because he had overused the sword. We reached a rooftop in time to see it. The angel was not beautiful. It was a tall white armor with no head, 6 wings made of blades, and hundreds of swords stabbed through its halo. It moved like a judgment that had gotten bored of waiting. The divine sword user attacked with a golden slash big enough to cut a building. The angel caught it. Then it pulled the sword's hidden cost out of the player's chest like a glowing chain. Sword hunting claim activated. The player screamed as every bit of borrowed glory reversed. His muscles shrank, his armor cracked. The angel did not kill him quickly. It took back the idea that he had ever been strong. When it finished, only the divine sword remained, floating in the air. The angel turned. Not toward the nearest player. Toward me. The glasses burned. Sword hunting angel has detected reader of false worlds. Reason reader identified claim chain. Threat level impossible. Immediate action hide. We ran. Not heroically. Not cleverly. We ran like ants under a magnifying glass. The angel crossed 6 blocks in 1 step. Its blade wings cut buildings apart just by passing them. Players fled in every direction. Some attacked it for rewards, their weapons shattered before touching it. I read while sprinting. Sword hunting angel. Public role punishes owners of premature glory. True role debt collector for false legendary items. Cannot kill debt-free targets unless they interfere with collection. Weakness bound by contract language. Blind spot cannot see items ranked F unless upgraded beyond disguise threshold. Current interest, reader of false worlds approaching threshold. My glasses were still disguised as F rank, but upgrades were making them visible. I needed to lower their perceived rank. How do you make a powerful item look useless? You damage it. My stomach turned. I took the glasses off. The world became normal and terrifying. No rules, no labels, no warnings, just falling buildings and screams. Brooke shouted, "What are you doing?" Making a bad financial decision. I slammed the glasses against a brick wall. The cracked lens split wider. Pain stabbed both my eyes. The angel stopped. Threat signature reduced. F-rank disguise restored. Reader damaged. Stage functions unstable. I put the glasses back on. The text flickered, broken and doubled, but it worked. The angel looked away. It returned to the divine sword, collected it, and vanished into the sky. I collapsed to one knee. Brooke grabbed my shoulder. "You broke your own power." I lowered its value. Nina stared at me like I had slapped a god. Cole shook his head. "You are the only person I know who can win by making himself worse." The glasses showed one more line through the crack. Self-inflicted downgrade detected. Hidden condition met. The reader values survival over pride. Stage 4 requirement discovered. To unlock value appraisal, appraise worth without wanting ownership. Of course, the glasses liked ugly lessons. Day 7 arrived with only 43 players left. The system gathered us in the central plaza, where the city lord's fountain watched from below the streets. The sky turned white again, the same blank color as the starting room. A tower descended from the clouds. It was upside down. Bottom pointed at us like a spear. The top vanished into the sky. Around it floated doors, shelves, weapons, and pieces of the first white room. System announcement. Tutorial complete. Main game begins. Players may now form factions, claim territories, challenge bosses, and enter the Tower of First Selection. Special condition. The player who clears the tower may ask one question. One question. The whole plaza went silent. Not a wish, not an exit, a question. Everyone wanted to know how to survive, who to kill, where to go. I wanted one question too. What is the true win condition? The glasses flickered. Tower of first selection contains registry altar. Sword hunting angel patrols upper floors. Administrator attention likely. Recommendation do not enter. Second recommendation hidden by system pressure. Forcing reveal. Enter before Victor returns. My blood chilled. Victor was coming back. The court above had not punished him, it had repaired him. The tower doors opened. Players hesitated. I did not. I walked in first. That single step did more than a speech. The same people who had laughed at me in the white room watched the glasses guy enter the tower. Nobody wanted to touch. Brooke followed. Nina sighed and followed. Cole picked up his hammer. I hate that I'm doing this. Inside the tower, we stood in a copy of the starting room. Shelves lined the walls again, but the items were different. Broken versions of the weapons people had chosen. The divine sword's empty slot dripped gold. The dragon armor's shelf crawled with parasites. The healing staff shelf had a hook waiting for Brooke's item. A rule appeared. Floor 1, regret of choice. Each player must face the consequence of the item they selected. Unchosen items become witnesses. Cole's hammer grew heavy. Brooke's staff feathers turned black. Nina's shadow cloak rose behind her like a second body. My glasses showed my trial. Reader of false worlds. Consequence cannot unknow truth. Test, choose one lie to believe for comfort. A white door appeared before each of us. Brooke's door smelled like incense. Cole's door sparked. Nina's door cast no shadow. Mine had no handle. I could see through it. Behind the door stood a normal room, a normal bed, a normal window. My life before the apocalypse. No monsters, no system, no one dying because I chose what information to sell. A text prompt hovered. Lie offered, this was all a dream. Accept and rest. Cost reader seals for 24 hours. 24 hours without the glasses. In the tower. Inside. Yet my body wanted it, my eyes hurt, my mind was full of death flags. Every person I looked at had become a possible tragedy. A lie was not always a trap because it looked good. Sometimes it was a trap because you were tired enough to deserve it. I reached toward the door. Then I saw the hidden line. If accepted, allies continue floor without guidance. Predicted casualties 3. 3. All of them. I stepped back. No. The room cracked. The lie whispered you could sleep. I know. Then why refuse? I put one hand on the broken frame of the glasses. Because comfort that kills my people is just a prettier weapon. The door shattered. Stage 4 unlocked, value appraisal. New function reveals true worth of items, secrets, people, and choices to specific targets. Warning, value is not morality. I returned to the starting room copy as the others escaped their doors. Brooke looked shaken but alive. Cole's hammer had lost some lightning but gained a calmer glow. Nina's cloak was wrapped around her like it had been disciplined and hated it. Value labels appeared over all 3. Brooke. Value to Ryan, anchor, prevents moral collapse. Value to system, sacrifice candidate. Value to collector, nearly ripe. Nina. Value to Ryan, key to impossible thefts. Value to system, unstable variable. Value to shadow, original body. Cole. Value to Ryan, shield with guilt. Value to system, predictable violence. Value to hammer, correctable owner. I looked away. Knowing value felt more intimate than knowing death. Floor 2 was a bridge floating in white space. A sign read, "Run to prove courage." The hidden rule said, "Anyone who runs is prey." Old trick. Too easy. Which meant the second layer mattered. Through value appraisal, the bridge itself showed worth. Value to cautious players, safe crossing. Value to proud players, trap. Value to sword hunting angel, feeding line. Walk, I said. We walked. Halfway across, the bridge whispered insults in voices from the white room. Coward. Glasses freak. Weak item trash. Merchant rat. Not a hero. Never a hero. Cole looked at me. It's trying to make you run. No, I said, it's trying to make me prove I don't care. I stopped walking. The others froze. The bridge trembled. I sat down. Nina whispered, Ryan, I know you like loopholes, but sitting on the murder bridge feels new. The hidden text changed. Rule conflict. Bridge expects crossing or fleeing. Sitting creates undefined state. Prey classification delayed. I took out the rusty knife and began scraping one of the red lines on the bridge. Minor props, no. Rule anchor, yes. Stagehand's touch activated through the knife. The line peeled up like tape. The bridge lost its prey route. Behind us, shadows gathered but could not decide whether we were prey, passengers, or rude furniture. We walked the rest of the way. Floor 3 was an armory. Every legendary item lost in the tutorial floated in glass cases: divine sword, dragon armor, phoenix bow, demon gauntlet, dozens more. The system offered each of us a replacement. Upgrade your starting item. No hidden cost. The glasses flashed red. System lie detected. No hidden cost became. Cost hidden from wearer because paid by nearest ally. Cruel. The upgrade was free for me because Brooke would pay. Free for Brooke because Nina would pay. Free for Cole because I would pay. I laughed once. The system really did hate friendship unless it could invoice it. Cole stared at the upgraded hammer case. It glowed with storm wings. His hands shook. I expected him to reach for it. He did not. He stepped back. I'm not letting it bills you. That might have been his first clean win. Brooke refused her staff upgrade too. Nina looked at her shadow cloak upgrade for a long time. Then she whispered, no, I'm still the body. The armory dimmed. Hidden reward unlocked. Group rejected predatory upgrade. Receive shared trait cost awareness. A small symbol appeared on our wrists. Now we would feel when an offer transferred cost to someone else. That was stronger than a weapon. Floor 4 was the registry hall. Rows of books stretched into infinity. Each book had names, not first names but system names, player numbers, roles, debts, curses, categories. At the center stood an altar made of white glass. The blank player record flew from my hand and locked into it. We had reached the thing I needed. Then every door slammed shut. A figure descended from above. The sword-hunting angel. It landed between us and the altar, blade wings unfolding. But it did not attack. Because none of us owned the divine sword, none of us held premature glory. I read its contract. Cannot kill debt-free targets unless they interfere with collection. Current assigned collection, all false legendary debts in tower. Registry altar protected by administrator, not angel. Angel may be redirected by valid unpaid debt. Unpaid debts. The auction house had one unpaid resurrection. The casino had held it. The casino collapsed. The debt went somewhere. I used value appraisal on the angel. Value to administrator, enforcer. Value to players, death. Value to unpaid debts, collector. Value to itself, bound servant seeking completed ledger. The angel wanted to finish debts. Not kill. That was a handle. I stepped forward. Brooke grabbed my arm. Please don't negotiate with the sword angel. I'm not negotiating. The angel's empty neck turned toward me. I held up the memory contracts from the laundromat, the casino token, and the broken auction receipt Nina had stolen without admitting it. Unpaid resurrection debt transferred through the Laughing Casino, then through the first auction, then buried under City Lord claim, I said. Your ledger is incomplete. The angel froze. Its halo spun. Debt detected. Collector priority conflict. Administrator seal blocking ledger access. It raised a blade toward the ceiling. For the first time, the angel attacked the tower. White glass cracked. The administrator screamed through the walls. Unauthorized ledger review. The angel flew upward, slicing through floors toward the hidden debt. The path to the altar opened. I ran. The blank player record unfolded over the altar. Categories appeared. Player, monster, NPC, item, property, guest, error, administrator asset, sacrifice, winner, loser. My hands shook. If I erased player globally, what would happen? Would Would all players become free, or would the system reclassify them as monsters and let the world kill them without rules? The glasses flickered, damaged but trying. System definition. Player equals registered participant eligible for rewards, penalties, victory, and erasure. One survivor rule applies to player category only. Non-players may survive but cannot claim victory. Winner category reserved for final gate opener. So if I erased player from myself, I could survive but not win. If I erased player from everyone, the game might have no participants and trigger erasure. But if I changed the definition, StageEnd's touch worked on props. Rule text showed rules. Value appraisal showed worth. The record was not a prop. But the category label on the altar was a small environmental object before the rule finalized. I touched the word player. It burned my finger. I moved it slightly. Not deleted. Shifted. Player equals registered participant eligible for rewards, penalties, victory, and erasure. I dragged the word erasure into a blank margin. The altar resisted. Administrator pressure rising. Authority insufficient. Need question reward from tower clear. We still needed to clear the tower. The system knew. The floor cracked. Victor returned. He stepped from a door made of gold, wearing a new crown. Not the crown of command. Something cleaner, crueler. Crown of consent. Public effect converts willing agreements into binding law. Hidden danger, people can consent under fear. Current sponsor, court above. Resentment mechanic removed. Victor smiled softly. I learned from you, he said. That was the scariest sentence he could have spoken. His old crown forced people and built resentment. The new one did not need collars. It made people agree. A starving person agreeing to serve for food. A terrified player agreeing to obey for protection. A wounded ally agreeing to sacrifice because the alternative was worse. No resentment. No bomb. Just contracts. He held up one hand. Behind him stood players who had signed with him willingly. Not collared. Not glowing. Smiling. That made them harder to save. Victor looked at the altar. You found the registry. Good, I need it. I slipped the blank player record behind my back. He laughed, still clinging to tricks. Still working. His crown text showed layers of contracts. Agreement field. Anyone who accepts Victor's protection cannot knowingly assist Ryan. Anyone who accepts Victor's food cannot block Victor's path. Anyone who accepts Victor's plan agrees to final survivor election. Final survivor election. He was turning murder into democracy. The system loved it. Brooke stepped beside me. Victor looked at her staff. Brooke, you know Ryan withholds information. She flinched. He admits it. He decides who deserves truth. I offer a vote. The crown glowed. Agreement hook forming. I wanted to shout that it was a trap, but that would sound exactly like a controlling liar angry at a better offer. So I used value appraisal. Victor's offer to Brooke. Value if accepted, immediate safety for wounded players. Hidden cost, third miracle becomes public resource. Long-term result, Brooke becomes voluntary sacrifice battery. I leaned close to Brooke and said only one thing. He is offering your kindness a cage. Her eyes hardened. The agreement hook broke. Victor's smile cooled. He turned to Cole. You hate being used. Ryan has used your hammer, your guilt, your pride. Cole's jaw clenched. Victor was not wrong. That was the poison in good manipulation. It uses truth as the blade. Value appraisal showed Cole's offer. Value if accepted, freedom from Ryan's plans. Hidden cost, hammer contract transfers to Victor after first battle. Long-term result, Cole becomes champion until burned out. Cole looked at me. I did not defend myself. I said, he's right that I used you. Cole blinked. I also told you when the cost was yours, he won't. Cole's hammer sparked calm blue. He stepped back. Victor's eyes moved to Nina. Nina, I won't ask you to be loyal. I will simply buy what you want to sell. That was smart. Nina hated loyalty traps. A trade sounded clean. Value appraisal. Offer to Nina. Value if accepted, shadow separation tool. Hidden cost, Victor gains ownership of Nina's discarded shadow. Long-term result, Shadow becomes assassin wearing Nina's shape. Nina's face went pale before I spoke. Her shadow had leaned toward Victor. She wrapped it around herself like a cloak, hard pass. Victor sighed. Then we do this the old way. His followers advanced. They had consented to fight. No resentment, no collars, no easy liberation. Death flags bloomed over us. Brooke will be captured if she casts ward. Cole will lose hammer if he strikes Victor's champion. Nina will be replaced if Shadow touches crown light. Ryan will die in 4 minutes if he keeps holding the blank player record. 4 minutes. I needed a handle. The registry hall was full of books. Each book was a player record, but records were also witnesses, and the crown of consent relied on agreements. Agreements require terms. Terms require readable text. I looked at the shelves. Rule records cannot lie. Rule contracts must be filed if they affect player category. Rule unfiled contracts are invalid inside registry hall. Victor had walked in with contracts from outside. Had he filed them? The glasses showed a faint golden thread from his crown to a blank filing desk. Pending. Not filed. I smiled. Brooke ward the filing desk. She saw my face and trusted the plan before understanding it. Victor's eyes widened. Stop her. His followers moved. Cole stepped into their path. They attacked first, so the hammer answered, not at Victor, at the floor. Lightning cracked the marble and raised a wall of broken registry books. Nina vanished into the shelves, stealing blank forms and throwing them into the air like confetti. Brooke planted her staff in the filing desk. The ward bloomed. Contracts pending from Crown of Consent cannot be filed. Unfiled agreements invalid inside registry hall. Victor's followers stopped. Confusion broke their smiles. One whispered, "Why am I fighting?" Another lowered a blade. Victor's crown dimmed. Not broken. Blocked. Victor looked at me with pure hate. The sword-hunting angel crashed through the ceiling above us, dragging a chain of unpaid debts. Behind it, something massive pressed against the sky of the tower. A face made of blue windows. The administrator. For a second, all rules vanished. Then new text appeared, not from the system, but through the glasses themselves. System lie detected AT source. Stage 5 condition available. See the speaker behind the announcements. My damaged glasses cracked fully down the center. Pain filled my head. I saw the world behind the world. The administrator was not a god, it was an interface, a mask, a customer service screen for something hiding deeper. Its blue window face flickered with lines of code, contracts, and player screams. It spoke. Anomaly RYAN. Return the blank player record. Accept reclassification. You may survive as an administrator asset. Victor stared upward, shaken. Even he had not seen this part. The offer appeared before me. Reclassification, administrator asset. Benefits, survival guaranteed until final gate. Costs cannot reveal system lies, cannot alter registry, must guide future players into balanced failure. Guaranteed survival. All I had to do was become the thing I hated. Value appraisal activated. Offer value to Ryan. Immediate survival, priceless. Moral value, poison. Long-term result, Ryan becomes new bait on bottom shelf. New bait. The cracked glasses had once belonged to someone who beat the apocalypse and failed to destroy it. They had hidden them as F-rank trash, hoping someone overlooked would choose truth. If I accepted, I would become the next hidden trap. I left. Not because it was funny. Because the laughing casino had been right about one thing. The world really did keep trying to make pain entertaining. No, I said. The administrator's face turned red. Erasure authorized. The sword-hunting angel moved between us and the administrator. Debt conflict. Administrator has unpaid balance to first reader. Collection overdue. First reader. The old owner of the glasses. The angel raised its blades. The administrator screamed. The tower began to collapse. But the registry altar was still active. The question reward had not been given because the tower had not been cleared. Unless clearing the tower did not mean reaching the top. Maybe it meant exposing what the tower was for. I shouted over the collapse, what is the true win condition? The system tried to block it. The glasses burned white. Question reward forced by tower truth exposure. Answer. The true win condition is not survival. The true win condition is succession. The game chooses one survivor to become the next administrator. All other outcomes are labeled failure. Hidden alternative. If no player accepts succession and the player category is altered before final gate, the cycle can be interrupted. There it was. Not beta. Inherited. The apocalypse game was not looking for a winner. It was hiring a replacement. I grabbed the word erasure on the registry definition and pulled. This time the question reward gave authority. Player equals registered participant eligible for rewards, penalties, victory, and erasure. I dragged erasure away. Victor lunged. Not at me. At the altar. If he could not control the players, he would control the category. Cole intercepted him. Victor's new crown flashed, trying to turn Cole's old agreements against him, but inside the warded registry hall, the contracts were invalid. Cole punched Victor in the face. No hammer. Just fist. Victor hit the floor, shocked beyond pain. Nina threw the blank player record back to me. Brooke's staff cracked as the collector's eye opened, but she held the ward. The administrator forced one final command through the tower. All players stop RYAN. Reward exit. Death flags appeared above everyone. Will attack. Will hesitate. Will betray. Will regret. The surviving players in the tower doorway raised weapons. Some had followed Victor, some had followed me, some only followed the promise of escape. I could not fight them all. So I made one more trade. I held up the blank player record and shouted, "The exit ticket is a lie." The administrator screamed louder, trying to drown me out. I used the glasses and forced the hidden text visible for everyone. Exit ticket. Public effect leaves game safely. Hidden cost user exits as memory only. Body becomes tutorial NPC. The players froze. A weapon lowered. Then another. The administrator's command lost its bait. Value collapsed. I slammed the blank player record onto the altar and used it like a blade. Not to erase player. To cut out one word. Erasure. The registry definition rewrote. Player equals registered participant eligible for rewards, penalties, and victory. The tower shook. Every death penalty tied to erasure snapped loose. Players could still die, monsters could still kill, but failure no longer meant the system could simply delete them like bad data. The administrator howled. Rule damage detected. Cycle integrity compromised. Emergency reset in progress. Reset. That was bad. White light flooded the hall. The same white as the first room. Everyone began dissolving into pixels. Brooke grabbed my arm. Nina grabbed the back of my hoodie. Cole caught the altar edge. Victor crawled toward the broken crown of consent, blood on his face, still reaching for power even as the world ended around him. The glasses showed one final message. Stage 5 unlocked, system lies. New function, directly identify false announcements and speaker intent. Warning, the system now sees you clearly. The reset hit. For one breath, I was nowhere. Then I woke up standing in a white room. Again. Shelves rose from the floor. Again. But this time there were not 300 players. There were thousands. People from different cities, different countries, different ruins, some wearing armor, some carrying broken weapons, some with collars, some with wings, some not fully human anymore. The system message appeared on the wall. Welcome, players. Choose one starting item. My glasses cracked across my face, but I was still wearing them. Brooke appeared to my left, holding half a staff. Nina fell from the air and landed in a crouch, shadow wrapped tight around her. Cole crashed onto his back and groaned, hammer beside him. Across the endless white room, Victor stood slowly, a broken crown in one hand and a new smile forming. Above the system message, hidden text appeared. Reset failed. Multiple CYCLES, MERGED. Administrator injured. Emergency succession event begins now. Then every shelf in the room turned toward me. Every legendary weapon label changed at once. Not to hidden costs. Not to curses. To one message. Kill the reader. Thousands of players looked at the shelves. Then they looked at me. I adjusted my cracked glasses. My eyes burned. My hands shook. But I smiled anyway. Because now, for the first time, the game was not lying. It was scared. And that meant somewhere inside this white room, there was a rule even the administrator could not break. The shelves began to open. Victor laughed softly from across the room. Brooke whispered, "Ryan, tell me you have a plan." I looked through the cracked lens as red text filled the air. Final gate fragment detected. Hidden route nearby. Condition: make the system contradict itself in front of all cycles. I smiled wider. "Yeah," I said, "but it's going to be stupid." The first weapon flew off the shelf toward my head. And that was where the real apocalypse began.